Welcome to the Women in Tech podcast series, brought to you by Wisconsin Tech Month. This series is all about shining a light on the women who are driving change and breaking barriers in tech. Each episode is about celebrating their journeys, successes, and the impact they're making in our industry. Let's hear their stories.
Sure. Well, my journey kind of has two different starts. So my first start was in college, got a degree in instructional technology, which is this fancy title for training and development. Then I went on to do my internship in England in website development. I was working on distance learning classes. Well, in 2000, that's very new. So learned a lot, did it for 6 months. But then I was like, I don't want to sit in front of a computer 10, 12 hours a day. This is not me. So I really kind of backed out of the IT area for a good 7 years. So I directed youth camps, taught skiing, anything that was outside, basically, I did. Well, after a few years of doing that, you realize that these jobs are fun, but they don't pay very much. So I was like, well, let's try to go back in IT. Website development at that point was so far beyond what I knew. So I decided to get a job at a help desk. The help desk, though, was like supporting agents and installing their hardware. Problem is, I knew nothing about hardware. I didn't know what a HDMI cable was or USB cable. So I thought they're for sure going to fire me in the first week. But what was really cool about that job is that I quickly realized that the support that was needed wasn't me just throwing all these technical terms out to agents. It was just bridging that gap between something super complex and really what can be very simple. So kind of found my niche in it all. So I would learn the process and then I would kind of explain it to them. The second level and my supervisors would laugh hysterically at my phone calls because, instead of like saying, oh, go grab, the HDMI cable or network cable, I'd be like, okay, go to the wall. It looks like a phone plug, but it's bigger. And, they're laughing at me, but that's what they needed. And in the end, it was really well received. And the great part about that is it kind of catapulted me into the rest of my career in IT because I finally learned that you don't have to be just the coder or you don't have to work like in the dark basement of somewhere. You can actually like work with people and make a difference and make something, like I said, they just want to push a button and make it work, right? So I'm just there to help them to make it work. So that was kind of what started my journey down IT. Sure. I would say both challenging and super rewarding at the same time. It's been actually amazing to watch the growth and kind of acceptance in women in IT throughout like the years and stuff. My early years of IT, when I was working back at the help desk, many times I was in a department of 200 men and I would be one out of maybe 2 women at the most. So you're constantly proving yourself. And also too, because I wasn't a gamer, I wasn't somebody that built computers at home in my hobby. People were like, what are you even doing in this field? So it was a lot of proving yourself. And I always felt like I had to study more than what the job needed me to, so that therefore I could be prepared for kind of the next steps or ways that they were going to challenge me. So nowadays it's a lot better. You see a lot of teams actually led by women, more 50-50, and there's more of an acceptance to it. Now it's more of like, I think you still feel like you need to prove yourself, but it's more of like what you know to the group, not so much just because I'm a woman actually in IT. So I would say the things that I love the most about it is just the creativity that you get to see, the thinking outside of the box. You take these super complex problems and IT can make it so simple. Like I said, you can take this thing that was 20 some steps and you can narrow it down to like, one field or one button. And that's been a lot of fun to see, just the creativity that goes into it. I always say like kids these days will never understand how lucky they were to have Google to write papers and stuff like that for high school, because like the painstaking to go into the encyclopedia or going to the library to like research any of your job or anything you were doing. So it's just a really fun field to be in. Sure. I think my biggest advice is be confident in what you know, but be comfortable with change. Every company you go into has different terms, abbreviations for things, acronyms for things, different systems, different programs. So you tend to come right out of like college or even your certifications, and you go in and still have that confidence, but don't lose that confidence as you have to navigate all these other changes. And also, too, technology is changing faster and faster and faster. And something that frustrates me is also something that I have to remind myself that makes me better is, it's going to change. So kind of just get comfortable in that change area and learn how to navigate it. Sure. I would say challenges. Overall, learning to be comfortable with that change. Like I said, technology just moves so fast. And so I think you go into it and you get so excited when you go into a job and you spend 3 months learning something, you finally get it. And then they're like, oh, by the way, it's obsolete. We're not going to use that anymore. Or a new version comes in. So that has definitely been a challenge for me because I like to know what I'm doing. I'm a very detailed person. So it's definitely a hurdle that I've had to learn to get over and get through throughout the years. As far as successes, I would say, I've got to work on so many cool projects, so many cool ones. And as somebody, like I said, that doesn't do IT really outside of my work, I learned so much. And so one of the big ones that we did a few years ago is we took the entire company and basically moved them to pretty much a different platform. And it was a huge undertaking. And they're like, hey, do you want to help out with this? And my eyeballs got about this big. And so you're working with people that are very frustrated. They just want to do their daily work. You're working with people that don't want to take the time to have to do all this extra things. So we spent a lot of months and everybody kind of had 5 jobs. And it was just really like, how can you simplify this process as much as possible and teach it to them? And also calm them down, it's going to be okay. And it was super awesome. We flipped the switch, we held our breath and everybody executed perfectly and it went great. And it's just the comments afterwards that I get so much enjoyment out of. It's the, oh my gosh, it was so much easier than I thought. Or, oh, wow, like this makes sense now. And it just kind of gives not only you a new sense of confidence, but it gives you a new set of skills and it gives them the confidence to then kind of teach each other and carry on with other technology. Sure, you can go ahead and email me. My email address is erindevore1@gmail.com.
And that's it for today's episode of the Women in Tech series. A big thank you to our guest for sharing her story and inspiring us all. Make sure you check out all of the amazing things that are happening during Wisconsin Tech Month. There is so much to discover, from workshops to panels to networking events. Stay connected with our incredible community of tech leaders and innovators throughout the month of October. Thanks for listening.